Alright guys, thank you. Let's settle down, give them a fair opportunity.
Scroll down the next slide. Try it. Scroll back.
Yeah.
Try. Are you guys ready to impress me?
Like I'm going forward now.
Why naman ka mabel?
And then you're going to go back and just go up. Like just the song. Just the... Alright, thank you guys. Let's give them a free opportunity.
Huwag ka lang, wag pala di in Africa.
Algebra. Algebra is a branch of mathematics that deals with solving equations and manipulating variables. It's like a game of puzzle solving. We use numbers, symbols, and rules to uncover the hidden answers. Algebraic expressions, equations, and functions are like building blocks of algebra. By mastering algebra, you'll be developing problem-solving skills and logical thinking. You learn to simplify complex expressions and solve quadratic equations. Algebra is a fundamental tool for science, technology, and engineering and mathematics, and is essential for understanding many real-world phenomena. So let's dive in and explore the world of algebra. How can I go
So, to solve equations involving radical forms, radical equations are solved by isolating the radical expression on one side of the equation. First, you isolate the radical by putting 2 over a side, then you cube both sides, you get rid of
Square.
raak van die woorde vorm, dan los jy dit op, dan kry jy jou x-waardes. To solve a quadratic equation using completing the square, we can use a pattern to solve quadratics by a genius method. It's called completing the square by using the square.
Solve quadratic equations using the formula. The quadratic formula helps us solve any the quadratic formula helps us solve any quadratic equation because we bring the equation to the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a, b, and c are the coefficients. Then we plug these coefficients into the formula. Negative b plus or minus square root b squared b to the power 2 minus 4ac over 2a. Okay. I don't know where's the example. I just see the equation, so I'm just going to say it. It turns out that negative open bracket, negative close bracket plus or minus the square root of 72 over 2 over 2 open bracket 7 close bracket, and then that is equal to a 10 plus or minus the square root of 36 times 2 over 14, and then that would be equal to 10 plus or minus 6 square root of 2 over 14. And then the like terms of the numerator and denominator can be 2, and then you cancel those two out, which gives you a 5 plus or minus 3 square root of 2 over 7, which are the two. Okay, now to solve real life problems using quadratic equations and inequalities. Quadratic equations are used in many real life situations, such as calculating the area in a closed space, the speed of an object, profit or loss of a product, or carving a piece of equipment for design. The roads have speed limits, 7 modes, and 8 restrictions, and the time it takes you to walk to the park are all examples of inequalities. Inequalities do not represent any exact amount, but instead represent a limit of what is allowed or possible. Okay.
Okay, so I'll be speaking about solving exponential equations where the exponents are integers. Okay, so I'll be making an example when you have it's a basic 2. So you're gonna write the base as a reciprocal as 1/2. 1/2, you're going to change it to 1/2. And when you have 30 to the power of -2, you're going to write it as 1/3, open bracket and close bracket 2, or you write it as 1/9. Where you take the exponents and multiply it with 3 to get 9 for the base. So the other one, the other example is when you have 2/3 to the power of -2. You can write it as 3/2 to the power of 2, which gives you 9/4. And I have the second topic is solve for x in the following expressions. So in this expression, we have so in this expression we have x squared minus 10x plus 16 is equals to 0. In order to get -10, both factors must be negative. So we're going to write factors of x is x and x, and factors of the last term it's going to be -8 and -2. So we're going to write this as x minus 8 is equals to 0, or x minus 2 is equals to 0. So equate both factors to 0. So we're going to write x is equals to 8, or x is equals to 2. So the second one we have is 3x squared minus 75 is equals to 0. So it's no proper square. So we're going to write as 3x squared minus 25 equals to 0, we divide by 3. So we're gonna have 3x plus 5, x minus 5 is equals to 0. We get factors of 25, which gives us both 5s. One is negative and one is positive. So we write x plus 5 is equals to 0, x minus 5 is equals to 0. So x is equals to negative 5 or x is equals to positive 5. Thank you.
So serious.
So I will be going over examples of linear equations, inequalities, and quadratic equations involving square roots. Now, I will be first doing the linear equation. So now firstly what we have to do is, what I will do is first expand the brackets. And what we get is 3x plus 6 minus 8x equals to. Now we see that we have like terms, which will then give us to negative 5x plus 6 equals to x plus 9. Now what we do next is we take the negative 5x plus 6 over to the right hand side, which will then bring us to 6x plus. We bring it over if the sign changes, meaning that the 5 becomes positive, so it will be 1 plus 5, which is 6x, and 9 minus 6, which will give us to 3. Now next we do is we take the 3 over to the left hand side. That becomes a negative 3 equals to 6x. Now we want to get rid of the 6 to get x alone. Now what we do is we divide by 6. What we do on the right hand side, we do on the left hand side as well. The 6's cancels out. We have x alone, which is negative 3 over 6. Now we'll do the inequality example. Now what you can do is we take the 2x, we move it over to the left hand side. Then we will have x squared minus 2x minus 3. Now we can either factorize or we can use the quadratic formula. Now the quadratic formula is x equals to negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now this is our a value, this is our b value, and our c value. now we type all of this into a formula on our calculator. Now we substitute, which will actually bring us to negative 2. Let's do plus 5 first. Negative 2 squaring 4a is 1 and c is negative 3. So now let's, I don't want to waste time, so I don't want to put it in the calculator now. So our answer for the plus sign would be positive 3. And for the negative sign, x will then equal to negative 1.
Because of afternoon, imagine having a square shaped answer. Now, you could cut that into many different shapes, right? You could cut that into squares, into 4 triangles, but I'm mainly talking about 2 congruent triangles, which would look like this. as we have seen here, the answer is 4. Therefore, x equals to 4. Or, thank you.
As we have here, we have simultaneous equations. So simultaneous equations are also known as systems of linear equations, which are a set of two or more equations that contain two or more variables. So we have two equations over here, and these one of the equations we must turn into a third equation. So in this equation, we have to make y or x the subject. So after in simultaneous equations, we have two kinds of methods that we can use. So this one is the substitution method, and we also have the elimination method. So here we have the substitution one. And so the third equation in which we have done, we have to substitute it in any of the equations in order for us to get the subject that we wanted. And then after that, we have to substitute the y or the x that we got back into the equation, so we could have both coordinates. So in this case, we have 2x minus y is equals to 12, and x minus y is equals to 3. And then we turn x, and then we made x the subject, and then we got x is equals to y plus 3. And then we substituted the equation into the x minus x into the 2x minus y equation, and we got y as 6. And then we substituted it back to the x, to the x is, and then we got we substituted it back to another equation, and we got 9 to coordinate 6. That is simultaneous equations.
Sorry for the interruption just before break. Basketball meeting in Mr. Aris's class, and everybody who is interested can join. That's basketball meeting in Mr. Aris's class. Anyone who is interested can join. Thank you.
Okay, so I will be speaking about rational exponents. Now, what are rational exponents? Rational exponents, which are also known as fractional exponents, allow us to express powers or roots using fractions as an exponent. So I will be writing an example on the board. Now, what does that mean? Now, what does this mean? This means now the denominator always determines the degree of the root, and this one is from the numerator. My second topic is solving quadratic inequalities in one variable and representing the solution graphically. Okay, so our aim is always to get the variable by itself on one side of the inequality and ideally on the left. So what do we do now? We add 4 on both sides. Now what is that equal to? Equals to 5x squared and 20. And then I will divide by 5 so that I can get the variable on the left-hand side, which means x is smaller then 4. Now graphically that can be shown on a number line. Like this. Now this means that x can be equal to any number lower than 4.
Good afternoon, class. So today I'll be explaining about the exponential rules and the 7 laws of exponential expressions. Today, solving exponential expressions might be hard. But I'm not going to go through all the 7 laws. I'm just going to go through 2. The power to power rule and the quotient of the product. So when multiplying two bases that have the same value, we add the exponents together. So this will be and then the quotient of the power is exactly the opposite from this one. So since dividing, instead of adding the exponents together, we're just going to subtract the exponents. So since we added the exponents in the product of power rule, in the quotient of power rule, we're just going to subtract the exponents together. So it's going to be 5 to the power 5 minus 3, which gives us 5 to the power 2. So with that example that's here, I'm just going to explain how to solve this exponential expression. So we have 4 to the power of 2x minus 1 equals to 64. So first we have to make the basis the same. We have to turn 64 into its power. So 64 will change into 4 to the power of 2x. So now since the bases are the same, now we're going to focus on the exponents. So the exponent of x minus 1 equals to 3. Then we take the 1 over. So since it was a negative on this side, if we take it over, it's going to be a positive. So the 1 is going to be added on the 3, and then we end up with the 4. So it's going to be 2x equals to 4. So the value of x is equal to 2. And then I'm not going to say much about multiplying and dividing expressions with radical forms. So we use the product rule for radicals. So since both are under a radical sign, 80 and 10, we just put it under one radical sign. So we divide the 80 into 10, which gives us 8. So multiples of 8 is either 2 times 2 times 2, or we can do it as 4 times 2. So we know 4 is a multiple, 4 has 2 multiples like 2 times 2. So if we take it out, then we will end up with 2. And then under the radical sign, we will get 2. And then when we multiplying when we are multiplying this, we take the 5, we're multiplying the brackets. So it's going to be 5 times 5 equals to the radical sign, 25 under the radical sign. And then 5 times 3 is going to be negative 15. And then 3 times 5 will give us a positive 15. And then 3 times 3 will give us a negative 9. So there's a negative 15 and a positive 15 for the cancel. So 25 in the radical side gives us a value of 5, and then 9 will give us a value of 3. So it's going to be 5 minus 3, and we have a value of 3.
I will be talking about simplifying exponential expressions where exponents are rational numbers. A rational exponent is one where the exponent is a rational number, in essence, an integer or the quotient of two integers. Let's first recall exponents for integer powers. For positive integers, we have the following definition. Positive integer exponents. The general form of a is raised to the power of n. N is a positive integer. Now, whereby where there are factors of the base A is multiplied by itself repeatedly, and it appears in the product n times. Now, the definition of the negative integer exponent is the general form of negative n, where n is positive, when n is a positive integer, is given by now. Moving on to defining a radical form and determine the sum and difference of expressions with radical exponents. What is a radical? For many students, the radical expressions definition is a new vocabulary term for something they have seen before. Now, many students first encounter the sign as the square root, and indeed the square root of a number is one kind of radical expression. However, it is not the only kind. We can also see here that this is an example of the signs. Thank you.
Just to close off, guys, I know it's great, but like we just think about the problems in algebra. Now, algebra is the essence in algebra. You can get by you can get a lot of jobs in using algebra. Now, it's used by digital analysis, financial analysis to solve problems, model complex systems, and make informed decisions. Even in medical and biology, algebra helps make new discoveries. So to me, I feel like algebra is very important in our world today, because we wouldn't have houses, we wouldn't have doctors, we wouldn't have all these important people in our lives without algebra. So thank you for listening to algebra evening.
Thank you guys. I'm not going to keep you any further if you want to break.
Please don't forget to
I'll change it. But if you understand that concept, it's